Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another encouraging word here from Greenwood Park. I hope that you've been enjoying the daily messages, especially on Holy Week. I hope that you've just been diving in to the week that led up to Jesus being crucified. I know it's been a tremendous blessing for me, and I hope that it has for you as well. Now, during this pandemic and quarantine, it would be very easy for us to think and focus on the negative, for us to dwell on what's bad or what could be bad. But I don't roll like that. I would consider myself an optimist. And in my peak of optimism, some would even say I'm optimist prime. Okay, that was a bad joke. But the last time that I did a Facebook video, I challenged the viewers to choose joy in the time of crisis. And that's exactly what I intend to do. And so as I'm searching online, as I'm going through social media, I'm always looking for things that uplift me, things that bring me joy, just a little bit of good news. And John Krasinski, the guy that plays Jim in The Office, he has a talk show that he just started recently called Some Good News. And millions of people have viewed his 2 videos that he has put out. They've cried tears of joy. The viewers have smiled. The viewers have enjoyed just seeing some good news in a time of crisis. And so now we come to the Wednesday before Jesus is to be crucified. And we have 2 stories. One story that's negative. One story that's incredible. And we're going to look at those 2 stories. We're going to look at the first one in Matthew 26, starting in verse 14. Then one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priest and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him over to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. From that moment, he sought an opportunity to betray Jesus. Now, everyone knows the story of how Judas betrayed Jesus. It's common knowledge all over the world. And it would be very easy for us to focus all of our energy on this story and be angry at Judas and shake our fist and say, "Why did you do this? How could you do this to Jesus, your Savior, your teacher, your friend?" And we could point fingers and we can cast stones. But should we? Should we, when everyone has sinned, when everyone has gone astray? It would be very easy to focus on this negative story because it's big. But I want to suggest that we pour all of our focus and all of our energy into the story of the woman at Simon's house. We're going to back up a few verses in Matthew 26 and start with verse 6. While Jesus was in Bethany in the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster jar of very expensive perfume, which she poured on his head as he was reclining at the table. When the disciples saw this, they were indignant. "Why waste? This perfume could have been sold at a high price and the money given to the poor." Aware of this, Jesus said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She's done a beautiful thing to me. The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me. When she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the gospel is preached throughout the world, what she has done will also be told in memory of her." And so you have these 2 stories that conflict with each other. You have Judas, who's very selfishly trying to gain something and trying to get something. And then you have this woman at Simon's house. And she is giving this gift to Jesus that is of incredible value. Probably the most expensive and most valuable possession she owns. She decides to give it to Jesus. And Jesus says, "She has done a beautiful thing to me." That has got to be one of the highest compliments anybody on this earth has ever gotten. Because she calculated this gift for Jesus. This type of love is beautiful. It's risky, but it's extravagant. And she gave the very best that she could. That's what makes this gift of love so incredible and so beautiful, is because she gave the very best that she could. Now, I don't know what was going through the mind of Christ just a couple of days before he was to die, this cruel death on the cross. But I do know this, is that this gift blessed Jesus, probably when he needed it the most. She gave a beautiful gift to a beautiful Savior who would perform the most beautiful act of love that anybody could perform in this world. And so I ask us, as we transfer it over to maybe our lives, now that we have a little time to relax a little bit, maybe you find yourself with just some more time because of this quarantine and because of this pandemic, then maybe we should ask ourselves, have we given our very best? You see, have we been a beautiful blessing to our Savior and to our God? And I want to encourage you today to give your very best to God, whatever that looks like for you. Be a blessing to Him so that He may say, you have done a beautiful thing to me. You know, love is risky, but it can be extravagant. And guess what? He gave us His very best. And so maybe we could just offer Him our very best as well. I hope this has been an encouragement to you, and I hope that God blesses you this week